What's up, friends? Welcome in to Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com with our technical director, Elijah Schmidt, assisted by Tyler Brewer. Today, behind the cameras, I am Sean Kellerman alongside my co-host, Daniel Courtwright. Got a full show for you today as we are live downtown on Mass Street. State-of-the-art studio here in Lawrence, Kansas Nation. Thanks to everybody who's watching on KansasNation.com. Also watching live on Facebook, live on YouTube as well. Appreciate you joining us. And here we are. After a full day, we had a meeting over in Kansas City this morning. And a little bit ago, we were over on Naismith Drive hearing some words from the two-time national champion who has an additional year finishing as the AP #1 overall team, Bill Self. Nice to catch up with the Hall of Famer, wasn't it, Dan?
Yeah, it was nice. It was good to see him. Man, he's getting around okay. Better than I thought. He got his knee replaced. He talked about that a little bit. But yeah, we're live right now, man. This is the first time we've gone live in maybe, I don't know if people should know that, but we usually pre-record the show.
We are glad that we're going live today, though, because it wasn't until about 2:30 that the news that we're going to be talking about here in the opening segment broke, and that is the fact that there will be a fellow Blue Blood coming to Fog Allen Fieldhouse. That's going to be an exhibition game as Duke is heading to the River City Sunday, October 25th. We'll break that down here in the opening segment. We've speculated recently about how there may be a third game added to the exhibition schedule for Kansas, as teams are now allotted 3 games, and there's not going to be any secret scrimmages that we know of.
It's not Arkansas either.
It's not Arkansas, but there were rumblings probably as long as, 6 weeks ago that Duke and Kansas might do battle in an exhibition. That is, in fact, going to be the case, so we'll break that down here to open the show. Next segment, though, we're talking about, game day. JHX Hoops here in a matter of hours. It's going to be taking on La Familia, the Kentucky alums, in the semifinals of the basketball tournament. That's right. The winner will get to host the championship against the winner of the non-alumni bracket, rather. So the farthest JHX Hoops or the KU alums have ever been in this tournament. Really excited to see how that goes. And that game, for what it's worth, is going to be on FS1 if you want to tune in. What an interesting night it was 2 nights ago in Wichita. Dan and I were out there at Charles Koch Arena. And, the brawls were all over social media. But we were also able to post-game catch-up with Frank Mason and Sharon Collins. If you missed those, check us out, Kansas Nation on Facebook, at the Kansas Nation, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, to get post-game reaction from an emotional win for JHX Hoops. And again, they are 2 wins away from the $2 million prize. Following that, it's the California kid himself, Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com and the Lawrence Journal World. He will be here in studio. He's going to talk Duke KU. He'll talk the basketball tournament, and then he'll tell us what he thought was interesting today in hearing from Coach Self, some roster, I don't want to say news, but some roster tidbits that Coach had that Greeny will give his take on. 5 o'clock hour, we are going to have our KU Mailbag segment. Daniel, what is on tap for that today?
You're going to have to wait until the KU Mailbag segment. I'm just kidding. We have a lot of sports stuff going on in the KU Mailbag. Some Chiefs questions. KU Najee always bringing up some hot topic stuff in terms of, is this guy going to get X, Y, and Z, and then also who. I always like those because I never look it up beforehand, but it's always fun for us to kind of think about who he's comparing, like what wide receiver or running back or whatever that is. Also have a question about a giraffe in here. Also a little Mount Rushmore question as well. Not about the one up in South Dakota, but Mount Rushmore. I'll give a little preview of it because Henry Greenstein actually is the one who asked this question. It says, what's your Mount Rushmore of current KU athletes? Current KU
Looking
athletes.
forward to that.
So I like that one. I'll give you time to mull it over because it is we could list a whole
I will try to mull it over, but I'm also simultaneously going to be hosting a sports talk show. So that'll be tough to think of.
That's fair. While you're talking, I'll mull it over.
Okay.
And then while I'm talking,
That's a good idea. I basically have nothing to think about when you're talking anyway, so that makes sense.
I know. You got like a monkey playing cymbals going on in your head whenever I'm talking.
Following our KU Mailbag segment, we will hear part 1 of Bill Self from Allen Fieldhouse, and then part 2 will be on tomorrow's Rock Chalk Sports. A lot of insight from Coach. He talks, like I said, about roster stuff, talks about the basketball tournament, talks about the Duke exhibition, all sorts of good stuff. And then, how about this? We're going back to our Kansas City Chiefs football opponent outlook. We took a 2-day hiatus due to TBT stuff. But, Dan, who is next on the docket for the Kansas City football Chiefs?
JETS.
Just in the season. That's how it goes. Did you see the Plaxico Burress thing?
I did.
You guys see that?
He compared playing to the Jets with being in prison. Said it's like you're just walking around all sad. And
no, what he said that caught my eye was it's similar to being in prison, because when you walk into prison, just like when you walk into the Jets facility, you feel like a loser. So he basically said that's the similarity.
Oh,
so shout out to the Jets, man, continuing to
JETS.
Yeah, to do what they do. But yeah, that's one of the games of the 3-game stretch that the Chiefs absolutely have to win. You have like Jets, Falcons, Cardinals in a row, and then before that and after that, you have a wagon of a schedule. So we'll see how it goes. All right, let's talk about this news of the day. It is John Shire's Duke Blue Devils coming into town for the Blue Blood Classic. That's going to be going down Sunday, October 5th. Homecoming weekend, an exhibition contest. I already looked it up, and the October 24th football game is a home game against Baylor. So there you go, homecoming weekend. It's going to be played in Allen Fieldhouse. Tip time will be released a little bit later. KU also will make a return trip to Cameron Indoor Stadium to face the Blue Devils back in 2027. Tickets for this are separate from the KU season ticket package, but season tickets holders have the ability to purchase their current seat locations starting today. So if you are a season ticket holder, you can purchase KU Duke tickets today. Donors will have access to purchase additional season single game tickets by level starting on August 20th. Public ticket sales will begin on August 26th. So then keep an eye, if you're not a season ticket holder, on the calendar, August 26th. And then for KU students, all sports combo purchasers will have the opportunity to redeem with more info to come in early September. Big news. It was released last week that KU will host their Late Night in the Fog as a part of an exhibition game day with Pitt State on Friday, October 16th. We also knew that Kansas will be welcoming Louisville on Wednesday, October 21st. We said earlier this week, well, their first regular season game for the Jayhawks isn't until November 2nd. Plus, you can have a third exhibition game now, so we thought another one was coming. And indeed, it's Sunday, October 25th. But this is a big deal as Duke comes calling. The teams have met 16 times dating back to 1985, but this will just be the second time that Duke comes to KU. Duke beat KU in overtime back in 1988, and then in that postseason, KU beat Duke in the NCAA Final Four. Of course, that was the Danny Manning year where KU was the 6th seed and Duke was the 1. KU would go on to win the national championship. So that's noteworthy. Kansas and Duke have had so many iconic games over the years. And that game back in 1988 that KU eventually lost in overtime to Duke, that was the first game that we had hanging in the rafters of Allen Fieldhouse, the "Pay heed, all who enter, beware of the fog" banner, as it made its debut.
Yeah.
The last time and only time that Duke has been to Allen Fieldhouse. So it will be an exhibition game coming up, and we'll focus on that.
And Kansas wound up losing that game?
They lost that game. Then they would beat Duke in the NCAA Final Four.
Interesting.
The original banner still hangs in the Booth Family Hall of Athletics, and the replicas and the rafters, of course, in Fog Allen. But, yeah, this is awesome. I mean, you don't usually get excited about an exhibition slate, Dan, but you've got Louisville coming in after Pitt State and now Duke coming in. It's kind of strange that it's an exhibition. We're not used to these marquee matchups, but it's a loaded exhibition slate for KU.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like it'd be like a Champions Classic or like one of those big, illustrious kind of pre-season or regular season kind of things. But yeah, it is going to be weird to see Duke in Allen Fieldhouse. I mean, this is only going to be the second time, like you said. And also, you just went right over Pitt State. I mean, you said, well, we're excited for Louisville and Duke. I'm excited for Pitt State
earlier. You're excited for Pitt State,
I'm excited for Pitt State. That's the official kickoff of basketball season. No, it should be a lot of fun. This Duke roster, again, they have a lot of guys returning, obviously. Cam Boozer goes to the Memphis Grizzlies, but Caden Boozer is going to be back, his twin brother, a really nice player from last year. Caleb Foster, again, will be back for this Duke team. Dame Sarr, who, if you're a Kansas fan and you follow some of the recruiting stuff, was really hot on his trail, winds up going to Duke, and was a really nice player from last year. I thought there was maybe some improvements and some, maybe he didn't live up to the expectations, but still, I mean, was a starter on that Duke team from last year. Also, a couple of big-time transfers as well, namely John Blackwell from Wisconsin, a really nice player over from Wisconsin. Patrick Ngongba also is going to be returning for this Duke squad. So, I mean, yeah, this is a really fun team that KU is going to be facing off against. And, yeah, it's an exhibition game, so it technically won't count. But, I mean, you talk about two of the bluest of blue bloods facing off in the mecca of college basketball. I mean, that's as good as it gets, right? I talked about how excited I was to see that North Carolina baby blue on that on Allen Fieldhouse's in Allen Fieldhouse on James Naismith Court a couple years ago, and that was just a ton of fun to watch. This is going to be, I mean, just maybe up to that next level of like, oh man, this is Duke, this is big, even though it's an exhibition game. It's still, I mean, this is a blue blood, and it is technically the Blue Blood Classic, but still, this game will not count. But it'll be interesting to see, and definitely test these Jayhawks, especially early when they're still trying to figure some stuff out. I mean, this is pretty much a brand new roster, right? I mean, you have Cole Rosario coming back, you have Paul and Bia coming back. That's it. So when you're trying to build that chemistry with each other, and yeah, they have the summer, and then now they have a little bit of an extended period where they're off. They're going to be coming back, obviously, like a couple days before school starts and continuing to kind of build that chemistry. But when you have a Duke team this early in the season, that's really going to test your guys, and it's going to be good to have that test this early to kind of know what you have.
Gary Parrish's top 25 and 1 has Duke at number 2. Kansas is nowhere to be found still on the list of Gary Parrish's top 26 teams. So a couple national people think way differently of this KU roster than Coach Self, or we do, as Coach Self spoke highly of the roster and guys today. And again, you'll hear part 1 of Coach Self at Allen Fieldhouse a little bit later in our show today, and the remainder of that tomorrow on Rock Chalk Sports. We think Kansas is certainly a top 20 team, but for what it's worth, Parrish has Duke at 2 and Kansas not in his top 26. You mentioned the guys that are returning, highlighted, of course, by Caden Boozer, who had that absolutely dreadful season-ending turnover.
Yeah.
And Braylon Mullins made him pay for UConn. And then Dame Sarr, the guy that Kansas thought they had for a little bit. This Duke team went 35-3 last year. Now, they had Cam Boozer. They had some other really good players as well. But 35-3, they went to the Elite Eight. The year before, they had Cooper Flagg. They were an awesome team then, too. So it's Duke. I mean, they're going to consistently be good. They're going to consistently have a lot of talent. You bring in Wisconsin transfer John Blackwell and Belmont transfer Drew Sharnowski. This is a loaded team in addition to the freshmen that they're bringing in. So, yeah, it'll be fun seeing Duke on Allen Fieldhouse Court. It's crazy that this has not happened since 1988.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't really know how to feel about winning or losing this game. I mean, because you know how fans are going to react. No matter what happens, I mean, if Kansas loses this game, then everybody's going to be freaking out. It's just like the Louisville game. I don't know. It's strange because we've never been in this scenario before where you have 2 games against teams that are going to be ranked higher than you in the exhibition at home. I think it's probably the same mindset that you always have as a KU fan. Anytime anybody comes to Allen Fieldhouse, then you expect to win. And I don't think it'll be any different. I don't care if Kansas is Ken Pom 146 and Duke is Ken Pom 2. You're still going to expect to win at Allen Fieldhouse. And same with Louisville. But, these are tough games. And there's a world, we hope not, but there's a world where Kansas goes 1-2 in exhibition. And, people are freaking out about that. But most importantly for these exhibition games against these high caliber players and high quality programs is that you get a chance to kind of see where your measuring stick is, going up against these teams. So that'll be good. That'll be important. And that's what's most important with these exhibition games. Like, everybody's going to be tuned in too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's massive that they're at home, right? I mean, you have Duke coming in to your house. You have Louisville coming into your house, obviously with, some bigger storylines surrounding this Louisville game. And again, you cannot stress this enough that it is an exhibition. So if Kansas winds up losing these 2 games, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to count against your record. And I think it's going to be good for Kansas to go off against 2 really stellar, really stout teams early so they can get a little battle tested before this non-con, because you still have some big-time games going on in this non-con, right? You still have UConn. You still have that Ohio State game that's going to be Madison Square Garden or whatever. You still have Villanova, right? You still have a lot of really talented teams coming into this non-con where the games actually do matter, right? So if you're going to go battle test between somebody in games that don't count, I would rather be Louisville and Duke. And again, on the flip side of that, it's kind of a win-win scenario, because if you lose, it doesn't matter. It's not going to go against your record, and it's going to get you more prepared for this upcoming non-conference, which is still going to be relatively tough. And then on the flip side, if you wind up beating these teams, then you're really going to stick it to the Gary Parishes and the John Rothsteins and, insert national college basketball analyst here, where you're proving to them like, hey, Kansas is actually the real deal. Like, you guys have been overlooking them. I understand it's a new roster. The front court's a little thin right now. I understand that. That's really the biggest knock on this Kansas basketball team right now. But if Kansas is going to come out and beat these two teams, then I think they can utilize that momentum into kickstarting what could be a magical season, because you have the number one player in the nation, right? You have the MAC freshman of the year. You have a guy who scored 53 points last year at Radford. You have a Familia and a Christian Reeves in the front court, where hopefully if they're healthy, and if you look at the development of big men in Kansas's past, are on that same trajectory as these legendary big men that Kansas has had in the past, like a Udoka Azubuike, who started off really raw and then all of a sudden has the NCAA record for field goal percentage and was an All-American and Big 12 Player of the Year, right? So I think, like I said, it's a win-win, where if you lose these games, doesn't matter. It's not going to go against your record. And if you win, you utilize that momentum and you go forward and just start kicking butt.
Yeah, can't wait for it. And again, it's an exhibition season unlike any that we've ever had. I mean, for a long time, and I know a lot of fans remember this, the exhibition season was literally Pitt State and Emporia State, or it was Washburn and Fort Hays State. That was it. Those were your two exhibitions. I mean, they were exhibitions against MIAA opponents, Division II opponents, whatever you want to call them. And you expected to go 2-0, and then it actually started when it actually started. Then we started having the era of secret scrimmages, you know, and then we had televised secret scrimmages with Illinois and Arkansas.
How secret are those?
Everything that was going on there. So now, for whatever reason, and I'm sure it's related to one of the two things in life, which is money.
Sure. What's the other one?
They're going to this format now where you can televise these things and, you know, make profit off of them. I don't know why they're not just turning this into a regular season game. They did add one extra game to the regular season and also one extra game to the exhibition, but it goes without saying that that would be something that would be, you know, more important. I don't know. I would think the coaches would prefer a regular season, but maybe they don't. Maybe they prefer this so that you can kind of see where you're at and compare yourself to other good programs without it costing you.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point, but I mean, when has Bill Self ever, you know, turned his head away from a challenge in the non-con, right? I mean,
Bill Self hasn't,
I mean, every single year, you know, Sean Lester and Bill Self and everybody involved has done such a great job of making the non-conference schedule as difficult as it possibly can be to get these guys ready for the Big 12 regular season. And that's why Kansas, I think, for so long won 14 straight Big 12 championships, because they were so battle tested in the beginning. So again, I mean, this kind of came to fruition really late. So obviously you plan these things out far, far in advance, right? I mean, we already know Kansas is playing, you know, X, Y, and Z in like 2030 and 2031, right? You have some of these things already set in place, and then you have Champions Classic. And when you're going to face off against Duke, I mean, really, the big money boys are going to get involved. And if you have Kansas and Duke in a non-con game that actually matters, they're going to put it in a neutral site. They're going to put it at Madison Square Garden or Chicago or Las Vegas or one of these larger, you know, venues, where, as opposed to this, where this is on campus. It's an exhibition game. It came a little later than maybe we expected. I love this. I think that you need to keep these on campus. I think the same thing about the KU Mizzou thing. Like, the fact that we're playing in T-Mobile Center, I think it's stupid. I want these rivalries on their campus, and I want these big, massive games on campus, because that just makes Allen Fieldhouse that much more rocking.
It'll be October 25th, Kansas and Duke. So, yeah, basketball season, I think, for all intents and purposes, is going to seem like it's starting a lot earlier, because you do have Late Night in the Fog / Pitt State on October 16th, and then you've got on October 21st, Flory Badunga and Louisville coming to Allen Fieldhouse, and then Allen Fieldhouse will serve as the site for Kansas and Duke on October 25th. And like I said earlier, Kansas will have a return trip to Cameron Indoor Stadium. That would be so much fun. Kansas has played a lot of games in football and basketball over in the triangle, if you will, as they've gone to NC State, they've gone to North Carolina in past years. And this is the last year in terms of non-conference regular seasons that Kansas will face Mizzou, as the 6-game agreement over 6 years is finally going to be ending after this, I agree with you, stupid game in T-Mobile Center. It's like, dumb. Why are we playing this? This should be on campus. So it could open something at the non-conference. Of course, you have the extra game in the regular season as well, going to 32 games instead of 31. But yeah, 3 exhibition games now. Also, coaches must like that idea because you get an opportunity, as I've said, to go up against really good teams. And yeah, it's not going to hurt you. You know, Kansas schedules hard, to your point. They always have scheduled hard. They have to face Blue Bloods constantly. They're playing in the Players era again this year. They're going to UConn this year. It's not like they're afraid of the challenge, but it might be nice to not just play an Emporia State in the exhibition. You're actually getting legitimate run against legitimate teams, and it's not going to hurt you if that happens.
And you're playing Kentucky this year. You're playing UConn this year. You're playing Villanova, which Villanova, you know, sort of a big name, and Kevin Willard is starting to get that program back to kind of where it was. Again, it's big shoes to fill, obviously, when you win a couple national championships in 3 years or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, the non-con slate is going to be really tough. But again, I cannot stress this enough, the fact that I do think this is a win-win, where if you lose these games, it doesn't matter. And if you win them, then that is only going to, prove to the national media that, hey, Kansas is back. Like, you guys were wrong. You guys were wrong to not have them in your top 25 and 1 or your top 30 or whatever that, you know, the John Rothsteins and the Gary Parishes and all those guys who keep on leaving Kansas out because there's so many question marks. But here's the thing, that what we've heard and what we have seen from this group of guys is that everyone really likes the way that these guys are starting to mesh. And again, when you get them this early, I think it's really important because, you know, they have some returners as well, right? Caden Boozer, Caleb Foster, Patrick Gongba, like those 3 guys have some really nice, Dame Sarr, again. I mean, they have 4 guys who have a lot of chemistry that they're able to, you know, understand how to play basketball with each other. When you're starting to mesh these guys with the Tate Kenneys and the Tyron Stokes, who are, you know, true freshmen who are learning to play basketball with each other, Paul Mbia taking that step up and being that number 1 guy in the front court that we expect him to be. Cole Rosario coming back with a vengeance in year 2, right? This is going to kind of show us what this team is made of, and you're going to see some fight in this game. You're going to see, you know, at least flashes of what we can hope for in the future for this Kansas roster. So again, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love the fact that they've loaded up the exhibition slate.
In terms of marquee games for the regular season in the non-conference for Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse, it's only Villanova, and they're on the 8-9 line in the NCAA tournament. I mean, you're playing New Orleans, you're playing Fordham and Middle Tennessee.
I think these kind of make up for that.
It does. It just doesn't count. You know,
yeah,
it'll count.
And, yeah, absolutely.
You know, my co-host on the JHawk Radio Network, David Lawrence, always says at Kansas there are no exhibitions. I mean, we fill that place to the brim.
Yeah.
Even when Pitt State's coming to town, I guess that's a bad example because that's late night. But even if it is one of those smaller teams, Kansas will always fill Allen Fieldhouse. And now they get to do it in the exhibition. It'll be a lot of fun because there won't quite be as much on the line, even though, you know, we'll want to win because that's what we love doing here at KU. But yeah, more on that when Greenstein joins the show a little bit later here in the Kansas Nation studio. After this, though, we are going to talk TBT as that continues tonight for JHX Hoops. Here in about an hour and a half, JHX Hoops and La Familia will be doing battle at Rupp Arena in Lexington. JHX Hoops, a small underdog in that one. If they win, that means they will get to host the $2 million game at Lee Arena in Topeka against the winner on the non-alumni side. So we'll talk about that, give you a little preview of La Familia after this on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, kansasnation.com. Welcome back live, Rock Chalk Sports here at kansasnation.com, live on Facebook, live on YouTube as well. Locally owned for over 40 years, Gary Joslin and the entire Joslin family proud to have earned the trust of 3 generations of customers. They believe Joslin's customers come back again and again and refer their family and friends because they treat each customer with the respect and integrity they deserve while offering the best in fine jewelry, all at a fair price. They've been the jeweler that you will recommend to your friends and family. That is their reputation. You wouldn't believe how many customers come in and say they were quoted $400 to fix a ring, and Joslin's can fix the same ring for under $200. Need a chain or other items fixed? Perhaps in the market for something for your significant other? They often can do it there at Joslin's while you wait. That's what Joslin's is about. You need something timely, done right, in a business you can trust. Joslin's Jewelry, 95th and Antioch, right in front of the big grocery store. You can't miss them, and you'll recommend them to your friends and family because you can trust them. I feel like you're going to chime in right there.
For the best that's yet to come.
Dan loves that jingle.
He does.
He does.
Really good. Did I hit that note?
Basketball tournament tonight. here in about an hour and a half over at Rupp Arena, where KU's weirdly had some success over the years against a fellow Blue Blood in Kentucky. This is JHX Hoops, though, and they're going up against La Familia. JHX Hoops absolutely grinding through this tournament. I mean, Sharon Collins and Tyshawn Taylor would have it no other way, right? That's what their Hall of Fame coach did during their time at KU. It's not always pretty. It hasn't been pretty. There have been missed shots. There have been turnovers. There have been missed free throws, all sorts of stuff for JHX Hoops. But what they've done is won. They lost the first game against Purple Rain. They got the next two to win the 2 out of 3 and advance to bracket play. And then in the quarterfinals, despite getting down by 6 points in the second half, and despite a lot of adversity, including only having 6 players against the Aftershocks, only 6 players, they got it done. Frank Mason, 3 straight Elam ending victories. And now another challenge here very, very shortly against La Familia. Kind of interesting, Dan. This is a quick turnaround before we get into the specifics of La Familia. Quick turnaround from all the emotions of Monday night. I mean, we were there. We were in the tunnel, the concourses. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were people screaming. There were, guys yelling at each other. Yeah. Jacob Hanna's got a bloodied up jersey.
Children crying.
Absolutely crazy. And Bill Self's going to say a little bit later, because we asked him a few questions about TBT. He said his key is going to be those 2 little guards. And those 2 little guards are Frank Mason and Jacob Hanna, because those guys totally grind. And Self says that Hanna has maybe been the most impressive. And that's not surprising. Hanna's a guy who was awesome in the MIAA when he played at Washburn on both ends. He could steal balls, he could block balls, and he can fill it up as well. He doesn't shoot it particularly well from the outside, but he grinds. And you saw that with the blood all over and the number of times that he had floor burns and that sort of thing. But Mason's been the guy, as we expected, to be the closer for KU. A lot of storylines, a lot of things that need to go right for the KU JHX Hoops teams in this one. But maybe, it's worth mentioning that this is a kind of quick turnaround after a long bus ride and an emotional win.
Yeah, it is a long turnaround, or a quick turnaround, excuse me. Like you said, I mean, all those guys were riding on all of these emotions, and then literally the next day they're spending 13 hours in a car or in a bus together. I mean, it's I think that's enough time for them to cool down, and being on that bus together. Obviously, they're starting to build that chemistry, and you're really starting to see that. And I continue to bring this up, but like whenever they do their game 1, it was all ISO ball, not a lot of ball movement, not a lot of off ball movement, no ball screens, no off ball screens, right? It was just like, let me try to take over. Whereas the coaches made those coaching changes, and then they were able to kind of mesh together as a team. And Zeke Mayo started hitting his shots. And, Frank Mason, not the most productive player whenever he's out there in terms of field goal percentage, but he's been the most clutch player. 3 Elam ending game winners for Frank Mason. I mean, how impressive has that been? Where he just, he has that crazed look in his eye.
Everybody else on both sides plays nervous when you get to the Elam ending. Like how many times are guys just chucking up threes?
Yeah, I know.
And Frank is just cool.
But Frank, and granted, I had said this to you in confidence. Like the worst thing that could happen is JHX Hoops gets within 3 of the Elam ending target score, and they're just going to start chucking. But Frank did the exact right thing, because Marcus Santos Silva hedged and then just turned around, and Frank was wide open. So he's like, all right, I guess I'll shoot it. Well, whatever, man. You're just leaving me out here to shoot this shot. But Frank has been so impressive. And again, I mean, we know this. This isn't any news to anybody. But he's one of those guys where even if he does have a poor shooting performance, it's not going to affect him. He's going to let it roll off his shoulders, and he's going to continue on to the next play. And that's certainly what he does whenever it gets down to crunch time in that Elam ending. This La Familia team is good. They have a lot of really great former Kentucky players, obviously, as you know. But I like the momentum that JHX Hoops has coming out of this Wichita State game. It was high emotion. They were still able to get it done, even with 6 guys. I mean, that's the most impressive thing. Whenever all those guys got, ejected from the game, you had 6 guys essentially left. One of them was Andrew Orr, who hasn't done a lot, is a nice player, scrappy guy, good on defense, but not really productive on the offensive side of the ball. And when you looked at it, Sharon said it best. He liked our 6 guys better than their 6 guys, and I really like that core group of guys that JHX Hoops has with Zeke Mayo. Whenever his shots start falling, like he's not gonna miss. Frank Mason again is going to turn it on and clutch, and hopefully the field goal percentage starts to come, especially when he's playing in front of 10,000, 11,000 people at Rupp Arena or whatever it's going to be, right? Carlton Bragg and Billy Preston, I think, have done a really good job in terms of adapting and having to kind of be that big guy down low when that's really not the game that they're used to playing. Jamari Traylor, again, when he's out there, I think he provides some nice rebounding. I think he provides some good defense. Mario Chalmers, even in little spurts. Again, I kind of told you this. I said he's obviously not the same player. I mean, he's 39 years old now. I mean, Mario's getting up there. But in the little spurts that you can see the facilitation. You can see all of the things coming about, and you can see the court vision that he has. And he provides so much more than that because of the fact that he's almost like a player coach. And that's, I think, how a lot of the other guys kind of view Mario Chalmers. Like, they will sit down and listen to Mario Chalmers whenever he's out there, telling them what to do. And I think that's so important. So, yeah, I love this JHX Hoops team. I think they're really meshing together. I think the coaching has been fantastic. I think they're on a heck of a ride right now.
It's interesting because Kentucky, the La Familia team that has some Kentucky players and a bunch of players that didn't go to Kentucky, but enough Kentucky players, I guess, to qualify them for the alumni team. They have a similar situation so far in this tournament to JHX Hoops in terms of they're 3-1, just like JHX Hoops. And the one game they lost was to a rival by about 20. They lost 82-62 in their loss to the Ville. Looking at some of their specific players, Archie Goodwin has been spectacular.
Yeah.
He is averaging 26 points. He's only played in 2 games, but averaging 26 points. You probably remember the name Andrew Harrison, a part of the Harrison brothers, Aaron and Andrew, who took Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken, to a Final Four when they were an 8 seed. Whenever that was, 2014, I want to say. Daryl Morcell, he played ball at Maryland. He's averaging 14 points per game. And then the pride of Olathe Northwest, Willie Cauley-Stein, is also on this team. And so is Sean McNeil. He played at West Virginia and Ohio State. So a lot of noteworthy names. Dan, what do you see on this roster, and what do you think is going to be important for JHX Hoops in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I see some good size, obviously, with Willie Cauley-Stein, Marcus Lee, right? I mean, they have some nice size to them. They also have some really good guard play as well. Like you said, Archie Goodwin has been electric. In the last game that he played, he had 30 points, 9 for 19 from the field. I mean, he's putting up a ton of shots, but he went 5 for 9 from a three-point line. I mean, that's something that, you really need to look out for, is that he's going to be rise and fire kind of guy. They wind up shooting 38.5% from the three-point line in the last game that they wound up playing. Archie Goodwin also, plays the point guard spot, not, really the biggest of guys, but he winds up with 6 rebounds too. So he reminds me a little bit of like a Jacob Hanna, where he kind of does it all, except, the fact that he's their primary scorer. The ball kind of flows through Archie Goodwin. Willie Cauley-Stein, it is interesting to me to see Willie Cauley-Stein, back out there, because he is a really nice player, and you can still see, the fundamentals are still there. He winds up with 7 points in the last game that they wound up playing, 3 for 5 from the field. Andrew Harrison, again, a really good player from back in the day. 7 points as well. Really, the scoring is going to come from Archie Goodwin. They have a lot of really nice shooters. They have guys who are not afraid to kind of rise and fire, like Andrew Harrison, like Daryl Morcell, James Manoir Bell, right? They have a bunch of guys who are really nice shooters and really good guard play. And I think that this game is going to be won, unfortunately, down low, right? With Willie Cauley-Stein and Marcus Lee, both of those guys down there. And I don't know if Marcus Lee is going to be, how much he's going to be an impact guy, I guess, if you will, because he didn't even play in the last game. So I don't know if he's dinged up or whatever that is. But I think that you really need to be able to rely on Carlton Bragg and Billy Preston and Jamari Traylor, those guys, to kind of, get out of their comfort zone a little bit and start playing that true center position. Like, who's going to be guarding Willie Cauley-Stein? Because he could have a heyday if you have Carlton Bragg or Billy Preston or somebody. That is a little bit of a mismatch in terms of back to the basket, true post move kind of stuff. That's what Willie Cauley-Stein is really, really good at. Again, he's a little bit older, but still a really nice player from, that team that essentially went undefeated and wound up losing, I think, in the Elite Eight, if I'm not mistaken, or was it Final Four?
Final Four.
It was Final Four. It was the Final Four. That's right. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Duh.
Jamari Traylor, perhaps a blessing in disguise, only played 5 minutes since he got ejected.
Yes.
Mario Chalmers only played 6 minutes in this one, and then you had a lot of guys play a ton of minutes. So that could be a factor. Frank, 41. Zeke Mayo, 40. Jacob Hanna, 38. Billy Preston, 34. But Jamari and Mario only played 5 and 6 respectively, and Jamari Traylor played really well in that game. He had 6 points and hit 3 big buckets to start that game. He had the first 6 points for JHX Hoops. So, perhaps a blessing in disguise. We'll look at it in that way. But yeah, we keep saying this because we're pointing to it as a key regarding getting more production for the bigs. I think, kind of something Bill Self would say on February 15th. You kind of are who you are at this point, right? Like, you're not going to get 24 points out of Jamari Traylor on any given night, but you're going to get bounce, you're going to get energy, you're going to get rebounding. You need to get those things. One guy who I think hasn't quite unleashed the type of player that he is Billy Preston when you're talking about the bigs. For the most part, this JHX Hoops team is going to go as far as their guards will take them. That's not surprising with Mason, Hannah, and Mayo. They're going to need to score. They're going to need to be more efficient. I mean, combined, Mason and Hannah were 10 out of 34 last game, and Mayo started really hot. He missed his last 4 shots. He still ended up 10 of 20. He's going to have to score in the 20s, and Mason and Hannah are going to have to be good. But Billy Preston, I think, is the X factor for this game because Kentucky has a lot of wiry, big, athletic guys. Preston is the one guy who can match him. I don't know how well Carlton Bragg matches up with that because he doesn't quite have the body. I don't know if he quite has the strength that Preston does, but keep an eye on Preston because he is kind of a quick twitch guy. He's got a quick first step for a big fella, and he can create separation just by rising and firing. He had a couple mid-range shots against the Aftershocks that you and I both liked, even though they didn't go. So I think he's the X factor, but it all starts with the guards. They're going to have to contribute in a big way if JHX Hoops wants to be playing for $2 million.
Yeah, absolutely. And I couldn't agree more about Billy Preston, right? Because Billy Preston, I mean, hasn't, again, you can kind of compare Billy Preston and Frank Mason in terms of the productivity of what they provide on the offensive side of the ball hasn't been there if you look at the stat sheet. But that's just because the shots aren't falling for him, right? If the shots start to fall for both of those guys, I think JHX Hoops can run away with this game. And I think Billy Preston is, to me, by far and away, probably the most athletic guy you're going to see on this court. Maybe it's Jacob Hannah, and Jacob Hannah is so quick twitch, and he's dunking on guys and grabbing all these rebounds, right? But in terms of like true basketball talent, Billy Preston has been so good, and just the shots aren't falling for him, and he kind of not great in terms of the field goal percentage. But again, I think if he turns it on, the shots start to fall for him because, like you said, there's a couple of mid-range shots where he dribbles between, drives in, stops on a dime, fade away. And you and I both go, man, I like that shot. Yeah. It hits off the back iron, but you go, I really like that shot. If that shot falls, that's going to be a game changer for Billy Preston, and this is going to be a massive game for him. And I think you could probably feel that pressure too, right? If you're playing against Purple Rain and Bramlage, and it's game 1 of a 3-game series, you have a little bit of comfort in terms of figuring your stuff out. And that's what we saw in game 1, right? Where they were figuring some stuff out, but they understood that like they had some time to kind of make those adjustments and, play better team basketball. Right now it's win or go home. So you feel that pressure on you right away, where if your shots don't fall right now, I mean, it's just like the NCAA tournament. If your shots aren't falling in the NCAA tournament, guess what? You're probably going to lose that game. So it comes down to that. It comes down to Billy Preston. It comes down to Frank Mason. Both of those guys need to be substantially better in the field goal percentage area.
The Aftershocks had a good amount of turnovers where they just threw the ball away.
Yeah.
But you got to credit JHX Hoops for some of that. And again, I think Hannah is a big reason. He's a big pest defensively. I thought Andrew Orr, I said this on yesterday's show, I thought he did some good things in his 19 minutes. He had a steal, a deflection, a block. JHX Hoops is going to have to rebound the ball, and they're going to have to make things difficult, like we talk about all the time with KU, for La Familia if they want to advance to a championship game, which, again, would be played in Topeka if they do advance. And who would they be playing in Topeka? Well, it'll either be Davis Steel or the Mecca. We've got some rosters, not a ton of guys that you would notice or recognize, I guess, but some interesting names. I'll look first, Dan, at Davis Steel, and I'll let you kind of break down the Mecca. But games that you know, or names that you might know from Davis Steel: Gabe York, he played at Arizona. Terrell Brown played at Washington. Nate Watson is a name you probably know. He played at Providence. DJ Rodman, yes, he played at Washington State and USC. And then Cameron McGriff, not the K-State Cameron McGriff, but the Oklahoma State Cameron McGriff. You're not going to recognize as many names as these guys have come together from different colleges, but that's the Davis Steel roster. And again, they will take on the Mecca, Dan, and the winner of that will go to the championship game of TBT.
Yeah, and the Mecca, they have some nice players as well. Casper Ware Jr. from Long Beach State. He winds up with 18 points in the last game that they played against Heartfire, which Heartfire actually won TBT 2 years ago, I believe. It was the year before. Yes, it was 2024. That was the first year we really covered the basketball tournament. He winds up with 18 points against Heartfire. Marvell Harris has been a nice player for them as well. 26 points for Marvell Harris from Fresno State, 6'5" shooting guard, a really nice player for that Mecca team. And yeah, I mean, you look at it, I mean, all these guys come from different, walks of life or whatever, whereas opposed to you look at the alumni teams, all those guys kind of come from, essentially the same place. You have your Jacob Hannas and the Andrew Orrs and the DJ Burns, who we haven't even seen yet this year, right? All these guys are from different levels. But yeah, in terms of the Mecca, right, a lot of these guys are relatively from lower levels. You have Loyola, Maryland in there, Alcorn State in there, Hope International University, Duquesne, Fresno State, a couple of Fresno State guys, right? But all these guys were really, really good at that kind of mid-major level, and they've all kind of accumulated together, and they've been putting together some really nice basketball. So, we'll kind of follow that along. We'll watch that game as well to kind of, and hopefully JHX Hoops is able to advance and play one of these two teams, because both of these teams really have some nice players on them. And Gabe York, I mean, he's one of the, I was talking to Caden Lecce, who's a resident TBT insider, because Gabe York is like one of the best like TBT players of all time. It was like him and Marcus Keene, and well, Marcus Keene's not going to be around for Marcus Keene's not going to be around for the foreseeable future. So Gabe York
suspended indefinitely from TBT. Keene after the antics, to put it lightly, that he had that caused a lot of injury, honestly, after the JHX Hoop victory on Monday night. After this, Henry Greenstein is going to join us in studio, KUSports.com, LJWorld.com. But before that, during this break, I'm going to go ahead and dibs the restroom, as we are live right now. So I want to make sure that I get that before Dan tries to do it as soon as we go to break. So when we come back, Greenstein will be here in studio. He's going to break down Coach Self today at his press conference. He's going to talk about TBT, talk about the Duke exhibition as well. That's all coming up next on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com. Sean Kellerman, Dan Courtwright, Elijah Schmidt, Tyler Brewer with you today here on Rock Chalk Sports as we are rolling in live. Henry Greenstein, the California kid, will be joining us here in studio in one moment. But first, Dan, Custom Lawn and Landscape, partners of us here at Kansas Nation. They've got an insect control program that helps out your yard, and the first application totally free.
You're kidding. The first application is totally free?
This is why I don't let him do live reads.
Let me tell you about Custom Lawn and Landscape. Summers are made for backyard fun. Slip and slides, kids running through the yard, dogs chasing tennis balls, cookouts past sunset, you name it. But nothing ruins outside time faster than fleas, ticks, and chiggers. And that's why families can trust Custom Lawn and Landscape to help keep your lawns beautiful and protected all season long. Their home insect control program can help defend your yard from those pesky bugs, so your pets and loved ones can enjoy the outdoors more comfortably and safely. And right now, when you sign up for the season, as Sean alluded to, your first application 100% free. That's right, I said it, 100% free. Simple way to take back your backyard this summer. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your first free application with a seasonal insect control program. Custom Lawn and Landscape, helping you love your lawn without the bugs.
California knows how to party, and nobody knows that more than Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com and the Lawrence Journal-World. Henry, great seeing you. Of course, saw you a little bit earlier today at Fog Allen. Saw you on Monday night. It was a late Monday night in Wichita. How was your trip home, by the way? Did you and GB carpool down there?
I drove. We were actually able to do the delightfully luxurious move of staying overnight.
That is luxurious.
It was very, very welcome because of how long and irritating our time after the game was.
Yes, sure. Irritating is actually the right word.
Yeah.
It was so strange.
Well, you didn't even. Sorry, I'll let you go. But you didn't even. They didn't let you back there, right?
Yeah, we had a tough time. The thing is, TBT tries to position itself as this kind of fun, lighthearted, and
edgy.
And yeah, well, the problem is they might not be the most well suited for crisis PR situations. And the thing is, it's
why do you say that?
Oh no, I no reason. No, I mean I wrote it in my article, but they came in and said, "Hey guys, we're not doing a press conference," and so Gary and I were like, "All right, we'll just go over by the locker room and it was a tense time. I feel like I should explain. This was after the fight.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, right.
Maggie Gehring broke her nose because Marcus Keene pushed Jacob Hanna into her, among numerous other things that happened.
Yes.
Gary and I thought we'd just go way outside the locker room, and then multiple TBT people decided to chase us away from there. And we kept saying, like, these guys know us. We've covered all their games. We just want to get some information. No dice. But thankfully for you guys, you were at the other end of the tunnel, and you were able to get a little bit of video.
We camped out, yeah.
Man, big day for Kansas Nation, though. You got cited in the Kansas City Star and the Lawrence Sterner
I was
World
honored.
For your, but yeah, that was a weird day.
Yeah, very strange day, and I, to be quite frank, don't want to relive it. But
good thing we have other stuff to talk about.
I know.
Yeah.
It started weird when Dan and I ended up at this Love Shack thing for dinner. I don't know.
It was really weird.
I saw the picture on your story.
The Love Shack.
Yeah,
it was Love and
something
Co.
else. All right, well, let's, I guess, start with TBT. You know, we want to ask you about the Duke exhibition and kind of how college basketball schedules have evolved in terms of going from 2 Division II opponents to now you're playing 3 exhibition and 2 monster teams coming to Allen Fieldhouse. But since we're talking TBT, that game is just over an hour from tip-off. JHX Hoops against La Familia. It's an interesting JHX Hoops squad, don't you think? Because I would say on paper, they probably don't match up great with some of these teams that they've beaten, but they've found ways to win. Of course, you have the ultimate clutch guy and Frank Mason, and Zeke Mayo hitting shots is huge, and Jacob Hanna's a grinder. But I feel like there are guys that haven't really played to their ability, but they found ways to win, and here they are.
Yeah, I feel like that guard trio of Mayo, Mason, and Hanna is the reason they've made it this far. I think you guys have mentioned on the show already, but Zeke looks like he's vastly improved just as opposed to 1 year ago even.
Yeah.
Like that year in the G League really must have done him some good. He's so much more confident with the ball in his hands and driving to the basket. And also as a defender, he seems to have gotten better laterally. And all of that's amounted to these back-to-back 25-point performances. So really impressed by him. And, Frank, he's been inefficient, but he's come through at the biggest moments. And Jacob Hanna, it was nice to hear him get a shout-out from Bill Self today at the end of that press conference. He deserves it. He locked down Keene and caused that. I guess the kids call it a crash out.
Yeah.
A little bit of a crash
Right.
out.
The kids.
Yeah, so I think his good defense had a lot to do with KU pulling off that victory in Wichita. As to whether they can keep it going against La Familia, I know I said this last week and they've won like 3 games since then, but I really think they need to get the big men involved. Like, I really think that they need to find a way for Carlton Bragg and Andrew Orrin to be more factors and for Billy Preston to play more on the inside, which I know is something you've mentioned as well. Because he wants to dribble around and shoot those pull-up jumpers. I think that, especially with Willie Cauley-Stein on the other side, the big men are going to have to do much more than they have. And at the end of that Average game, it was getting dangerously close to the ISO ball that we saw in the first game against Purple Rain. Yeah. And it worked for them because Frank hit 2 amazing shots. But I think that they played better in the final game against Purple Rain on the whole at some points in terms of team basketball and integrating all members. And I think they will need a complete performance tonight for sure.
Yeah, and that was kind of going to be my next question. You answered a lot of it. But I'm curious to know your thoughts of Billy Preston because Sean and I were watching this game. We were obviously sitting right next to you. He had like a couple of pull-ups at the elbow where I looked at Sean and I said, I like that shot. It didn't go in, hit the back iron, but you go, I like that shot a lot. And he's first couple of games, puts the ball on the ground. That's dangerous. Had a couple of turnovers, but he still is really nice. Are you more comfortable with him? Do you want him to essentially transition himself to being just a primary center big man because of the mismatches that La Familia is going to provide? Or do you just let Billy Preston go and hopefully those shots start falling for him and he can play like a guard if he wants to?
Well, the thing is, we've seen him be potent with those pull-ups and his in general kind of play style in previous editions of TBT.
Right.
It just hasn't really worked out especially well so far this time around. And so it's been good for JHX Hoops that all of the guards have been so productive. You could argue having a 6'10 guy who can dribble around out there makes things difficult on opposing forwards, and so it's useful to have that element. I just think he needs to play to his size a little more. He hasn't been rebounding enough and hasn't been enough of a factor in terms of post defense. But yeah, it's fun to space it every now and then. He just hasn't been hitting the shots.
Yeah.
Hopefully for him, those will come in time. But yeah, he's a valuable asset, and he's definitely one player you'll look to get going. I don't think the 4-man is a really strong spot for the Kentucky team. So could be a big night for him. Obviously, I guess their biggest name player is Cauley Stein, but their most productive player has been Archie Goodwin.
Yeah.
Even though he's only played 2 games, he had 30 and 22. Had 30 in the 70-66 win over Syracuse alumni. And then that guy from Maryland, is it Daryl Morsell?
Morsell, yep.
He's averaging 14. So they got a talented backcourt of their own, too. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. Interesting. When I was in 5th grade and taller than most people on my team, I was told by my coaches to be an inside player. But you know what I was doing?
Pulling up.
Camping out in that court. I got to hit those threes.
Classic, yeah.
They always want to do that.
They do.
Shout out to my friend John. He was on my intramural team. He's 6'7", and he sure did a lot of threes.
You're like, what are you doing?
Play 3-point line, 3-point line.
5 or 6, 7.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're speaking in studio to the man who's been to all 9 national parks in California, Henry Greenstein. You can find his work on KUSports.com, LJWorld.com. Henry, let's talk about
all 9 of the national parks.
There are 9, though?
There are a lot. There's like
Yes.
Yosemite, the Lassen volcanic
Joshua
thing,
Tree.
How many have you been to?
Death Valley. I've not been to like any of these. I'm not a big nature guy.
I was close.
Well, no, he's too busy surfing.
He's
always on the beach.
Yes,
Sorry,
that's his thing.
please say whatever you're going to say.
No, don't ever apologize if we talk over each other. If you watch a show on Monday and Nick Springer sits in that, I mean, I don't know if we ever even asked him a question. Who? Nick Springer? Jesus, God bless his heart. All right, Duke and Kansas, Sunday, October 25th. Henry Greenstein will be there. First, the matchup on Duke, and then want to ask you about kind of the new landscape of the exhibition season, because KU's only marquee game on paper in the non-con at home is Villanova, and you've got 2 games against bigger, better teams in the exhibition. That's kind of strange, but first trip to Allen Fieldhouse nonetheless for Duke since '88.
Yeah, and I could be wrong, but someone told me these exhibitions are sold separately from the season ticket
they are.
package. So I'd imagine some people are probably not super thrilled about that.
Do you think money was a factor in?
I think it was. I think it tends to be a factor in most things. I don't know about that. Just in my experience. I have some preliminary thoughts about this matchup. First of all, just baseline level, always great to I'm glad it's not a neutral site. How about that? It's always fun to bring in a big name opponent to Allen Fieldhouse, even if the game doesn't count. I think you shouldn't call something a classic if it's never happened before.
Right.
Good point.
They're calling this the Blue Blood Classic.
So it's like Babe Ruth calling
it's not
a shot.
Classic. Yeah, it's not a classic. And the fact that it's an exhibition game means it will never be a classic. Just a prediction on that end. That being said, since the NCAA has allowed for 3 exhibition games, I think KU's taken full advantage. The only thing is I'm a little surprised because this is a home and home, so they'll be at Cameron next year for an exhibition. Why not do it the other way around, In the last few years, Bill Self has talked a lot about how it's been a valuable experience for his team to get a sample of what road basketball is like in the preseason. Why not do that this year when your Louisville game's at home? I tried to ask him this, but I don't think I worded it very well. I imagine it has something to do with what Duke's schedule consists of, but it would have made a lot more sense to be at Cameron this year and be at Allen next year.
It looks like Tennessee is going to Durham on October 20th, so I guess somebody had to
But
have 2 home
shouldn't that
games.
mean that they should have a road? They could have a road exhibition.
Duke. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Duke's coming to Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Bill
Am I
Self,
saying that right?
Tennessee's going there.
Yeah, what I was trying to say is, wouldn't it make more sense if Duke already has another home exhibition for them to have to? Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah. No, we were good. We were confusing ourselves
my
there.
bad.
But yes, I think that's what happened is both teams had an exhibition against a marquee team at home.
I see.
And then one
So
of them.
KU
But
got
yeah,
the
I
short-
agree. It would be sure nice if one of these was on the road when it doesn't count.
Yeah,
It'd be
Bill
good.
Self has called going to Cameron, which he's never done, a bucket list item for him. I was listening back to some quotes he gave.
We got 2 more years of it.
Yeah, well, that was about to be my sports talk radio hot take for you. Does this mean that Bill Self will be guaranteed to come back for the 2027 to 28 season? No, but in November 2024, when they were about to play Duke, he did say that. He said he's driven by it because they were trying to recruit some transfer or something, but he's never actually been in Cameron, so that's cool. But yeah, overall, he's right. These will be big ticket items, probably about as big ticket as an exhibition can get. And it's cool that they added to the calendar. And, the fact it's on homecoming weekend, I imagine KU football will be selling some more tickets to its Baylor game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Henry Greenstein, KSports.com, and the Lawrence Journal World. I talked with Sean about this in the opening segment. I said that this is kind of a win-win for Kansas. And maybe this is me, and maybe this is me pushing my pro-KU propaganda, but it's an exhibition game, so if you lose, who cares? It's an exhibition game. Doesn't matter. But if you win, then that proves to maybe the national media, because we can constantly complain about, Gary Parrish not including Kansas in this top 25 and one, and, John Rothstein having Kansas like way down. I think he had them at 6th in his preseason Big 12 rankings and stuff like that. So it proves to those other guys like, hey, there's 2 marquee matchups. Yeah, they're in Allen Fieldhouse, so that's going to mean something, obviously. That's going to give you a couple extra points on the Kansas side. But if you're able to come out and win, then Kansas is going to utilize that momentum to, A, prove those guys wrong, and B, use that to kind of beef up themselves, get a little battle tested before the non-con slate. I guess, do you agree that it's kind of a win-win situation?
Absolutely. And to your credit, you guys have shown a lot of restraint. I feel like last year you were talking about John Rothstein's rankings on like every show.
And we've only done it on this show like 3 times.
Yeah, it's like once a week maybe. It's it's not bad.
So props to you for that. Maybe, but by the time we get to October, maybe I'll be singing a different tune. This team is young and hasn't played together. They need all the reps they can get. If those reps are against the Blue Devils, all the more significant for sure. Duke's going to be incredibly talented this year, as they always are. They'll be out for vengeance against the world at large after losing in horrific fashion in the tournament. But
shout out to Caden Boozer, by the way.
yeah.
But
shout out.
I think that this will be, because this is the best experience you can get without being on a foreign tour or whatever. The fact that you can now have 3 exhibitions and 2 of KU's are going to be against really potent teams that spent a lot of money this offseason. I think it will be very helpful for them to build cohesion entering that season opener against Fordham.
Yeah, for sure. And if you win both of them, then just don't lose to Fordham. That would be good. Yeah, that would not be a good situation. But yeah, hopefully KU gets some wins and learns a lot of lessons in the exhibition. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, we know that the regular season added a game. You go from 31 to 32, but do you have any major thoughts or feelings toward the exhibition? Because I was saying earlier in the show, it used to be 2 Division II opponents that came into Allen Fieldhouse. You had 2 ho-hum games. You went trick-or-treating after one of them, and then that was it. Then you were ready for the regular season. But now the season's starting earlier, and you're getting these big-time matchups. There was the period of secret scrimmages. I mean, do you have any thoughts on the exhibition slate expanding and being a bigger deal?
I like it. I think most other sports have preseasons that are more fleshed out than college basketball. I will say, in terms of the landscape of college sports, it's sort of unique. I guess something's either unique or it isn't. There aren't degrees of uniqueness. So it can.
I remember my English teacher telling me that back in the day. Like it can't be somewhat unique.
Yeah. So that was a misstep on my part. I don't know. I like it. My only thing is, and I understand that it's all about, every game is really just a bundle of assets that's sold for media rights money. So, but for me, I feel like KU plays Duke like a fair bit these days, with, all the various regular events they've been involved in, Vegas Showdown, last year they played in Madison Square Garden for the Champions Classic. I just wish it was a slightly more novel matchup.
Yeah.
But Duke versus Kansas is always going to draw the eyeballs, and probably to a greater extent than probably any other exhibition game could. So I'm not going to fault them for doing that. But it's not the most new and exciting matchup, certainly.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I wanted to ask you about the roster because Bill Self said earlier today that, is it done? I think, what was the phrase that he said?
Maybe.
He said maybe, but then he said it's not done, but it's closed or something like that. I don't know what it was. We're going to hear it next segment.
Yeah, he was saying we can add. The central message is we are trying to add people, but if we don't, then I guess it's fine.
I don't want people to ask me after the fact why. Yeah, for sure. But
and we know they're trying to add. Right.
Was there anything he said in particular though, otherwise at the presser that caught your eye? I mean, he talked about some personal stuff. He talked about the Duke game. He talked TBT. Pretty much touched on everything.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways you could go with it. I guess I'll just start with the thing I was interested in hearing about, which is whether this Melvin thing was actually something they had foreseen and considered as part of their offseason plan. He basically said no. He basically said, it would be great to have him, but we're not counting on it, nor have we been really involved in the process, which is interesting. And we've talked on this show already about what would happen if Melvin were on this year's team, but it would not, I don't want to say throw a wrench into things, but it would change the way that this team is mapped out for sure. I was going through some stats earlier today. Melvin Council has played in 170 college games. He started 164 of them. In 167 of those games, he's played at least 20 minutes. This is not a guy who has had a reduced role on any team he's ever been a part of. So I would be very interested to see how they balance his minutes with those of Tay Kinney and Leroy Blyden if he does end up winning his court action against the NCAA. So that was something. Hearing that Luke Barnett is a surprise of the summer was interesting, and the fact that his skills go beyond just shooting the ball, which is basically the only thing anyone ever talks about with Luke, was very encouraging to hear. It'll be interesting to see if he has a path to playing time, though, just because there are a lot of off guards on this roster. When you think about like Cole Rosario and Dennis Parker being his primary competition for minutes, those guys are going to be in the rotation. So I think Luke will find his way into a back-end spot based on what Self said today. He was extremely laudatory. So that was pretty salient, I guess. Saying that Tyron Stokes' shooting has been vastly above anticipated is good because, if Stokes isn't a shooter, the only real shooter in your projected starting lineup is Leroy Blyden. So the fact that he can make them from the outside is really encouraging. And I don't know, what else did you guys find?
First of all, I want to shout you out. Blyden's exact 3-point percentage.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah,
big time by you. And Jack
Ritter knows exactly when school
starts. You know why? Because he's a student at KU.
I was writing something today about like how getting Council would impact the roster, and I was
don't sell yourself short.
That's why the 40.7 was in my mind, because I was like, well, who do you remove from the starting lineup if Council's going to start?
Yeah.
Are you taking out the guy who shoots 40.7%?
Yeah.
Right. And that's who I did when we talked about this yesterday. That's the guy I kept in the lineup. I took Tay Kinney out, and Dan was not. He was not having it. He did not like that.
The thing I can't get over with Tay Kinney, and this is the premise of the article, which I guess you should all keep an eye out for in the next couple of days. But, Self's pitch to him was, this is going to be your team. And he handed him the keys to that quote he gave back when he committed.
Oh, I love that metaphor.
Yeah,
like handing somebody the keys to the car.
Yeah, it's kind of
they're
like
kind of
the keys and turn them in the.
And they'll be in control.
You're kind of in charge.
Yes, exactly.
Or what about like a house?
Yeah, I think it was more a car in this case. But what other things have keys?
Maps.
Monkeys.
Okay, I meant like literal keys. But
you asked for keys. Maps. Florida keys.
The two answers we gave are maps and monkeys. That was good.
Real quick,
that can be a fantasy draft for you guys.
Yes.
Top keys. That's good. Real quick before I let you go, I know we're up against the break. We didn't get a chance to ask you about this late night coinciding with Pitt State, and I asked Self about it today.
He gave you a long and thoughtful answer.
He did, and I was actually happy about that because I don't know, like as an observer, like late night, the quality of basketball hasn't been the best, at least over recent years. Now you're pairing this with an actual competition. I guess, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's a good thing moving forward, I guess? Or do you think like maybe some of the other things could be a distraction? Or I don't know, what just your overall thoughts on that?
I think this is an inevitability. When they removed the performing artist for cost-cutting reasons, late night lost kind of what was its primary selling point to a lot of students. And so then you're just left with a lot of skits that play on the video board and weird basketball and a Dream On video. Well, you can
don't skim over the Dream On video, okay?
I know,
we love the Dream On video.
You can do that without having it be its own night of the calendar. So I'm not surprised they chose to do this. Like you guys, I'm a little disappointed that they separated the men's and women's thing. Yeah. Though I don't think that women's, they can try, but I don't think that women's game is going to feel like late night in the fog to those who attend it. And I don't understand why they didn't just try to do a double header.
Yeah, I think they're getting the short end of the stick because you got to think, even though it's, and again, like you said, it was inevitable that there was going to be a change, even though, the men's basketball introductions and scrimmage and video is the highlight. That's cool for the women's program, and it is exposure of the women's program to 15-3 in Allen Fieldhouse. So that's kind of a bummer for them. But hopefully, who knows? Maybe on October 29th, I think it is.
That's the other thing is it's not even their first exhibition game.
Yeah.
It's really
interesting.
Weird.
Interesting there. But yeah, interesting change there for KU Athletics, something that we've known for quite some time, and I'm sure it'll be great. Bill Self, you'll hear on Rock Chalk Sports, part 1, part 2. He speaks on Late Night in the Fog, and they're going to make sure that it's still a fun event. Henry, thank you for coming in. You're going to have TBT coverage, I would imagine, and then we've got football fall camp coming up next week, so KUSports.com, good place to subscribe and keep up to date.
Absolutely. You'll notice I'm not in Lexington, Kentucky. Unfortunately, that was too quick of a turnaround for a TBT game, but yes, coverage for all things you could think of. I'll have a lot more related to Bill Self's comments today, and thanks for having me on, guys.
Of course. Yeah, give him a subscription, KUSports.com. Our most loyal guest, Henry Greenstein. Always appreciate when he comes in on Wednesdays. Hey, after this, it's our KU Mailbag segment. Stick around, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, listening on ESPN Kansas City, and watching KansasNation.com. Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports, live here on KansasNation.com. Jayhawk fans show up, pack the Fieldhouse, and wave the wheat. When it comes to money, Meritrust brings that same energy. That's because financial well-being isn't just something they offer, it's why they exist. Real people, local decisions, a team that actually knows your name. When you're ready to improve your financial game plan, they are ready. Meritrust Credit Union is the official financial well-being partner of Kansas Athletics. Visit meritrust.org to learn more. Federally insured by the NCUA. So, as you can see, just as Henry Greenstein is not in Lexington, we are not in Lexington either.
That's
but
right.
We will have some coverage. We've got a colleague from the ESPN Louisville station over at Rupp Arena getting us some coverage. So stay tuned this evening, 6 to 8. So coming up less than an hour now for some coverage of JHX Hoops against La Familia in the semifinals of the basketball tournament. We'll do the best we can to keep up our coverage. Again, at the Kansas Nation, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Kansas Nation on Facebook. Coverage will be there. Daniel, KU Mailbag segment.
Yeah.
Who are we starting with today?
Do you want to start with KU Najee?
Let's do it.
We can start with KU Najee. Actually, let's start with Cody. Let's start with Cody. Cody asks, will Patrick Mahomes start week 1? That's the question.
That's a hard hitter.
Do you think he will start week 1? We've seen videos of them at Mo West's campus. Mahomes looks good. Does he look like he's favoring the right leg a little bit? Maybe. Does he start week 1 in your eyes?
I think he's too much of a competitor, right?
Think so?
And again, I've said this a lot. It's probably me overdoing it. But week 1 is the week 1 game for the Chiefs is the latest possible day that it could be.
True.
And I'm not just talking the NFL schedule. I'm talking the actual calendar schedule also.
Right.
Because Labor Day is the 7th of September.
Correct.
Which is the latest Labor Day can be.
That's right.
So then the first week of NFL football is September 13th is the Sunday.
Yeah.
The latest game is Monday the 14th.
night.
So the season is starting later in the calendar year. Does that matter? I don't know. But that will be almost exactly, I think it will be exactly 9 months. Nick said on Monday that it was December 14th that Mahomes tore his ACL. So that would be a pretty quick recovery. But I think also the fact that it is the Broncos plays a part. You know, Mahomes, I think no matter who, but if it were the Raiders coming to town, maybe give it another week. But he's such a competitor, I think he's going to be out there.
Yeah. There's
you
a way
have said a million times
I don't want it.
that you don't think he's going to be out there.
It's not the fact that I don't think it. I don't want him to be out there.
Well, why would you want Patrick Mahomes to?
No.
be the starting
I think
quarterback
I want to take
for
the
your
coward's way out is what I really want to happen. I want to be a coward, and I want to do this. Here's the way that I can spin it. Because, again, I'm a propagandist. I like to push agendas. Patrick Mahomes does not start week 1 against the Denver Broncos. Chiefs lose, and that in turn, I can come back on Tuesday and say, yeah, well, if we would have had Patrick Mahomes, we would have won. That's what I want, and that's what I think will happen. Because then I can be like, oh, well, yeah, well, I mean, Patrick Mahomes wasn't playing, so it doesn't even count. That's what I want. Instead of Patrick Mahomes going out there, risking injury again, week 1.
Okay, here's what I don't get about that argument. If he's risking injury on September 14th, is he not risking injury on October 7th?
Sure. Yeah, he would be. But I don't want. I understand he's cleared. He's ready to go. But I think he's such an ultra competitor that he's going to push his body so far. Like, I don't know. I understand. He's cleared. He's ready to go. I'm not a doctor. But I'm afraid that he's tried to rush this. And again, with all of the extra work that Patrick Mahomes does in the offseason and in terms of getting his body back to 100%, it just makes me a little nervous. Is all. It does. It makes me just a twinge nervous.
I guess let's get back to the question at hand. I answered it. You didn't answer it.
Yes, I think he does.
Okay, there you go.
I think he does. He starts week 1. All right, is that what you want to hear?
Josh always has the hard hitters, man.
Yeah,
always.
Josh says,
and this is similar to Cody's hard hitter.
Josh says, "Well, JHX Hoops win the $2 million
if they win the next 2 games." Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to move on?
How's Josh doing, by the way?
He's good. Yeah. I'm going to London with him.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He's a good guy. We're going to go to the KU. I mean, I'm going to be working, but he's going to go to the KU game.
We did break down the basketball tournament, JHX Hoops, La Familia, a little bit earlier in the show. So if you missed anything, check us out, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube.
Yes. But I do think that I think that they, like I said, if Billy Preston plays well, if the bigs
that'd be awesome,
learn how
honestly.
to play bigs.
And you and I are...
And Frank Mason can shoot better than 11% from the field or whatever.
You and I are going to be JHX Hoops' biggest fans tonight also because, again, if they win, we get to go to the $2 million championship game at Lee Arena in Topeka.
Do you think they'll give us a cut?
Right.
Since we've been their supporters since day one?
No. But they might recognize us for interviewing them. But, yeah, that'll be in Topeka at noon on Sunday if they knock off La Familia tonight.
Yeah, certainly hope so. Hey, KU Najee has 2 questions here. He says, will Tate Nagy have more than 19 receptions, 255 yards, and 2 touchdowns this year? So let's think of the wide receiver room right now. Nick McMillan, Najee Cox, Keaton Quebeca, Cam Pickett. Those are your top 4.
Who is the Jayhawk? Sorry, I'm reading the second part.
Oh, there's a second part that says, who is the Jayhawk that put up that stat line in 2020? 2020.
I have to do the first. I have to do the second question first. I just have to. It's too
Would
good
it
trivia.
Lawrence Arnold? That's not a terrible guess. He was there in 2020, right? And he was young. And he wasn't, Quentin Skinner didn't come on until...
Maybe they would have been there because, yes, technically those guys would have had 5 years.
Yeah.
In 2020, Kansas, if I'm not mistaken, went 0-9. 19, 255, and 2 is difficult, KU Najee, because that is not a very good season.
No, but that's why he's kind of putting it on...
right.
Yeah, which...
Yeah, it probably was one of those guys. I'll say Luke Grimm.
Good guess. Receiving, let's see, 2, what was the official number?
19, 255, and 2.
This is Luke Grimm.
Look at that.
Dude, that's a good pull by you.
Maybe he'll be Luke Grimm.
Lawrence Arnold had 6 receptions for 45 yards.
There you go. Also a good guess.
Stephen McBride, 4 receptions, 17 yards. Who was the leading receiver on that team? Quick, go.
That's what I was trying to think of because we were 0-9, right?
Yeah, it was Kwame Lassiter.
No.
Yeah. Sorry.
Bless his heart, man. He didn't get a good draw with
I know.
how bad
I really
the team
liked
was.
him too. And then he has a okay. So answer the first part of the question. Does Tate Nagy have more than that? 19.
I'm gonna say no. I don't think he gets 19 catches. I think he's gonna have a great role in special teams, but I don't think he'll get there.
I think it's under on all of them. I think he does get a touchdown this year.
Receiving touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even a return touchdown. I think he gets a receiving touchdown this year. I think it's going to be against Long Island or Middle Tennessee. But yeah, I think he gets a receiving touchdown this year. I can see 9 receptions. No. I don't even like that. 6 receptions.
I wouldn't dare go
45
lower than
yards.
7.
Why?
6 is disrespectful.
It's not disrespectful. It's fine. 6 receptions, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. Which is, I want to say that. I
exactly.
know. I think that's, Lawrence Arnold didn't have a touchdown. So.
Okay, next one from KU Najee. Will Nick McMillan have more or less than 65, 831, and 7? And which Les Miles Jayhawk do those stats belong to?
So they're 3 years? Les Miles? Is that right?
18, 19, 20?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's think about it. I mean, right away, Steven Sims.
I think Sims was done earlier than that.
I thought he was done in
Oh, well, I guess it's
18, 19.
It's got to be. Although Steven
gotta
Sims was an answer to a previous KU Najee question.
Yeah, that's true. Would he do? Would
I'll
he
look it up.
dare? Would he dare?
Sims
do
might have been
that?
playing in 2018. And I don't know who else would have been productive.
19.
Yeah, he played.
Oh my God! I know who it is, and you're gonna crap yourself.
I got to check and see. Sims.
It was in 2019. is
Sims
when it
had
happened.
53 for 535 and 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. No, I have a guess. I have 2 guesses actually.
Okay. My first guess was going to be Dalen Charlotte, but I know he didn't
wasn't
get over.
productive for
No,
us.
he was not. He's not that productive.
Stephon Robinson.
no.
Andrew Parchment.
Yes.
I should have gone with Parchment first.
Andrew Parchment, 65 receptions, 831, 7 touchdowns. That's a good season.
Yeah.
What was the record that year? 3-9. Not terrible. 1-8 in conference play.
Well, yeah, that was his first season, so it was like, oh, we're on the up and up, and then, not so much.
You win 3 games and you go, hey man, 3 more.
Right.
That should be easy. And then you go over.
Didn't work
in
out.
2020. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Good questions. Now, answer the first part. Does Nick McMillan get more than 65, 831, and 7? I think he gets less than 65.
I mean, yeah, that's 6 catches a game, isn't it?
Yeah, to me he's floating around
5.5.
45, 50. Maybe.
I'm gonna agree under on that because I like the law firm of Pickett and Cox,
Yeah.
and I think our tight ends are gonna be pass catchers.
I'll
I'll go
say
under
this.
on that.
I think he goes under on the receptions, under on the yards, over on the touchdowns. I think he gets 8 touchdowns this year.
I'm gonna say
On
I'm gonna say
650.
over on the yards.
Okay.
And
Over
I'm
831.
over 831, but I'm gonna say under on the touchdowns.
So you're saying he's going to get
Yeah.
like 15 yards per catch?
Yeah.
Dang.
I mean, not necessarily. I'm not necessarily saying that. He could have 64 catches for 832
Sure.
yards, and that would
Okay.
be correct.
That's fair.
But no, under on touchdowns. I think the running backs are going to get a lot of touchdowns, and then I like Pickett, Brune, and Cox too.
We need to go through. We need to go through after the football season is over.
And then
like I'm going to go through K Najee's DMs and compare. And I'll probably we need to actually go through maybe our shows and see what we said.
yes,
See if we were right or not. Tyler, he wants to know: would a giraffe wear a tie on its chin or on its chest?
this is easy for me. This is easy for me.
You going?
If it's a bow tie, it's on his chin. If it's a necktie, it's on his chest.
Ooh,
Right?
sure.
Picture a giraffe. Close your eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
What's it look like?
Tall.
How big is its neck? Is it long or short?
Pretty long. Yeah. No, it's pretty long. Can I open my eyes now?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I had you do that. What do you
Have me
think?
picture a giraffe? I know what a giraffe looks like. Okay. Why? Okay. I agree with you, but I actually think that the bow tie should be farther down because if you
No,
think
it looks more astute if it's up here.
okay, sure. No, I mean I don't think it looks more stupid. I think when you wear a tie, do you wear it up here at the top of your neck or at the bottom of your neck? You wear it at the bottom of your neck.
There's literally an image on the intrawebs of a tie, of a bow tie. It looks way better. The bow tie has to go up.
You
at
think it
the
looks
top.
better at the top?
Yes.
I think it.
The
but I don't think it
necktie.
matters.
I think the necktie has to go up top too. It looks sloppy when it's down low. I think.
Like he just got off work and he's like, ugh,
Yes. Yeah.
it's a little loose and.
I like it up top.
I like it down low.
buttoned up.
I think on the chest.
Buttoned up look.
is where he goes. Now here's another question: would a dog wear pants with 4 legs or 2? Because if you think about a dog, you think about pants, right? You go, all right. Well, that
close my eyes.
You're bipedal, right? Yes. Close your eyes. Imagine a dog. Now here's the thing. This is really hard.
Four
this
leg
is
pants.
really hard for Sean because he hates dogs.
4-leg pants.
You think 4 legs? Yeah, well, that's the thing. What do you say? Hey, what are those 2 things at the front of the dog? Those are its front legs.
Yes.
They're not the arms. They're not the dog's
Exactly.
arms. So do they wear 4-legged pants?
When Donald Duck gets out of the shower, why does he always wrap a towel around his waist when he otherwise doesn't wear pants?
Good question. Yeah, I don't like. Same with like Winnie the Pooh. Like, I don't know. I'll walk around my house like that sometimes, but like other than that,
Yeah.
they're like out in public. They're like at restaurants. It's like, put Put yourself together a little
Yeah.
bit. You know what I mean? I
Agree.
think it's not a good look. Hey, Henry wants to know, what's your Mount Rushmore of current KU athletes right now?
That is a very good question.
I have a couple.
Okay, why don't we go back and forth?
Are we gonna go? So I get two picks?
You
You get two picks.
You get
or-
the first one.
I got my first one right now is Ashton Barkdale,
Okay.
national champion. Ashton Barkdale.
I'm going Sophie Daw,
Good pick.
right? I mean, how many shutouts did she have last year?
Yeah, that's a good pick.
A lot.
Carolyn Castins, did she graduate?
No,
I
she's
should
still
know
on the
that.
team.
She's still on the team. I think Castins might have been about. Yeah, Sophie Daw obviously had all those saves, but Carolyn Castins was really good. Okay, let me go. I'm going to go ahead and go with Reese Patak. So I have Ashton Barkdale and Reese Patak. Really good volleyball player. We're talking current.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look, if you look at
Mount
football
Rushmore,
and basketball,
man.
there's a lot of questions.
Mount Rushmore of current. I know. That's why you can't put, like, Stokes on there. He
I
hasn't played
know.
a game yet.
Ooh, I got a good one. You go, though. It's your turn.
Some of these people, I got to make sure that I'm not...
You can go with another pole vaulter. Ashton Barkdale, by the way, national champion in indoor pole vault.
Give me... Gotta be current. Give me Augusto Mungarieta.
Oh, good
290 with
pull.
17 homers.
Yeah,
and he's
that's
still
good.
current.
I actually didn't even. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
Because
17
so many
homers.
guys that are coming to mind are guys that are done.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with football. Give me Trey Lathan.
Yeah, that's solid.
Great.
I consider him.
Great. I mean, leader. All
right, is that
of the
4
defense.
or is that more
I
than
have
4?
3.
I like the Sophie Daw pick. You said we're already at
You
5.
have Sophie Daw. You have.
Oh,
no,
am
no.
I-
well,
am I
think
doing my
we're
own?
I'm doing my.
Oh, my God.
I'm doing my Mount Rushmore. You're doing your Mount Rushmore.
Bodie Ray.
Okay,
Another
two
baseball player.
players. Sure. Ella Boyer, catcher
Good pick.
for KU softball.
Good pick. Give me Logan Bell. Now, she's young. She's only a
Good.
sophomore.
Yeah,
But kind
I
of a
like
jack
her.
of all trades.
No, that's good. Volleyball player. Nice. Wait, do I have?
Because you're probably done.
Yeah, no,
there
I'm
were
done.
so many that have
Ashton
graduated. It's
Barkdale,
like,
Reese
man,
Patak, Trey Lathan, and Ella Boyer.
You
I
wanted
like
to go.
my, I
You
like
wanted
my
to go
4.
Brady Ballinger, Tyson LeBlanc, all those
They're
people.
done.
Will King, he's done as
Yeah,
well.
Will King, man. But-
Amy DeCock also
Amy
done.
DeCock, yeah.
Very good on the women's golf side.
But I mean, you do have Lila Louderbaugh.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
she won
true.
the
She
NCAA
should probably
regional.
be,
I mean, yeah,
be
she's probably
mentioned.
up there. Hank wants to know, how does TBT fix its format? I think better security.
I don't know, man. I think, with all due respect, and we're going to be, watching and cheering for JHX Hoops, it's tough when there are guys off and on the rosters all the time.
Yeah.
So that to me is always going to be kind of an eyesore on TBT. They don't care. I get that. And
Yeah.
the players who are on the team don't care, and whoever's there can play kind of a playground type situation. Oh, whoever shows up to this game, we're all going to play. But yeah, it's difficult. I think you got to stay with the bracket. You stay with the Elam ending. There are some things about that are nice, but it's strange to me that they went from so many teams to just 16.
I think that the real money is in the alumni. I think if you want to cut it down to 16,
Totally.
you make it 16 alumni. And now here's the thing. Like Mecca and, Gotham City and
Like, those guys
Heartfire.
went to school somewhere.
Yeah, they went to school somewhere, and they're good teams. But, I mean, you've seen those games? Nobody's there.
Yeah.
You know who came out and watched their team? Wichita State, because they had alumni.
Yeah.
Kansas,
You need
they
to go back.
all
You at
came
least
out
need to
to
go
the
back
arena.
to that.
Yes.
You need to integrate
Make
them all
the
together.
heart of it alumni based. I think you have to.
Well,
I
and
think
the non-alumni teams that, maybe are moneymakers for TBT, I don't know, need to be included in the bracket. It probably needs to be a 16 or 32 team bracket of just everybody. and try to get as many alumni teams as you can. But anyway, good question there. Appreciate everybody who sent in questions on our KU Mailbag segment. Hey, after this, we're going to hear from the Hall of Famer, two-time national champion who had an additional year finishing as the AP #1 overall team, Bill Self. Part 1 of Bill Self speaking with the media a little bit earlier today is next on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, kansasnation.com. Welcome back on your hump day here on Rock Chalk Sports. Tomorrow's show, we're going to hear more from Bill Self, who we're about to play for you right now, talking all things TBT, Melvin Council. He talks about the roster. He talks about the Duke exhibition, which if you didn't hear earlier today, that's going to be Sunday, October 25th at Allen Fieldhouse to close down KU's exhibition schedule and so much more. And we're going to hear first from Bill Self, part 1, after I tell you about Central Bank. With Jayhawk checking from Central Bank, Jayhawk fans can carry their pride wherever they go with the official Jayhawk debit card. Central Bank is proud to support the traditions and communities that bring people together. As the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, Central Bank is committed to serving Jayhawk fans with banking options designed for real life. Learn more about Jayhawk Checking and the exclusive debit card at jayhawkchecking.com. jayhawkchecking.com. Central Bank, the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, member FDIC. All right, let's go to Fog Allen Fieldhouse, part 1 of Bill Self's media availability a little bit earlier today.
All right, Shay, go ahead. You're on the clock.
What do you do? Like, what's the routine or schedule like this time of summer? And it's obviously early, but do you like what you've seen from the guys?
Yeah, it is early, but yeah, I think we've had a good summer. I think we've certainly improved since the end of last year with our two returning guys, and the new guys have all gotten better. It's been a good group to coach. They have been very teachable and certainly have hooked up and got after it. So I've been real pleased. We're nowhere close to being a team or where we hope to be, but I think that we've had some individuals progress, and even more importantly, I think we've kind of learned that there's a way that we should play offensively to give us the best chance, and I think the guys have all bought into that.
What does that look like for this team to be optimal offensive, just based on what you were just saying?
Last year, I actually believe from a scoring standpoint, you had a first and second option in one guy. This year I think we'll be more balanced, without question. I also think we have a collective group of better and willing passers, and of course, Tyron's the key to that. He's about as good a passer as I've ever been around. So I'm excited about that. Now, with that being said, you still got to make shots and get the ball in the basket, but we shot it a lot better this summer than what I probably even projected going into the summer. We've had some guys shoot the ball really well.
And then the news of the hour of the Duke exhibition, just how that kind of come together. And I know you had previously in years past wanted to have one on the road. How did these kind of all end up being home this year? Well,
last question first. Louisville owed us a game, and then of course we playing an in-state team, and then I think if you get a chance to play Duke at home in a unique way that's set up, and then us actually go back to their place next year, I think I personally think it's great. I think from a fan standpoint, getting Louisville and Duke at home, I think definitely adds to the attraction of our schedule immediately. Those two games aren't the biggest games on our schedule by any means, but the appearance of having them that early in the season, I think people will be pretty amped up to watch them.
Stokes is the second top-rated player in 2 years to come here. We hear a lot about him. What has he done that's impressed you the most?
We all knew that he was skilled. He can rebound and bring it. He can do a lot of different things. I'd say that there's two things that have impressed me the most about him is he can shoot the basketball. I mean, he is, if that's a weakness, and we're going to be in pretty good business. He can shoot the ball, and then the other thing, he's an elite passer. He's got great vision to the point where he should probably shoot more at times, but he's a pass first guy. So I think those are two things that I think are contagious, especially the pass first part of it, and he'll be a fun guy to try to utilize and play to his bag, so to speak, because he's got a lot in his bag.
Now, we know Flory left. Paul didn't play a ton last year. Where is he in terms of major college basketball contributor? Is he a star?
He could be. Is he a starter?
I mean, not only a starter, but is he?
He'd have a great chance to be a starter, especially with Christian being out right now. But you would think that would be pretty good competition. He and Christian, but with Christian not going to be full contact for quite some time, I think that I can certainly see Paul being a starter. He's had a good summer. He's improved a lot. He's a lot more confident and playing bigger. So I really think that he got here late, but the last week or so of summer he showed us all something that we hadn't seen yet since he's been here.
On the internet, the fans think he's in amazing shape. Is this true? Has his body been working out?
Well, if it's on the internet, it's got to be true.
We haven't seen him, so.
What's that?
I mean, we haven't seen him.
Well, yeah, amazing shape. I don't know about game shape, but I think his body looks good. Yeah, he's had a good summer. He's lean and he's very athletic.
Coach, could offer some of your personal insights in what it's like for you to essentially build a team from scratch after spending your whole career. Everyone's experience is building pieces, just adding pieces, tweaking here and there, and sort of every year just is a little bit of a change. Now you're returning, I think, 5 points total and no starters. Is it invigorating? Is it a nice change, or what's your thoughts on it?
Well, if I had to pick my preference, I'd rather have 5 starters back and they all average 15. But it's been a fun challenge. It's been a fun challenge. I actually thought last year was a fun challenge. I liked our roster last year. If we'd been whole the whole year, I think that would have been certainly a fun team to watch and be a part of on a daily basis. More so than the abilities that we played to last year. I mean, we had a nice team, but if we were whole, I think that could have been a really nice team. I think this year is new, exciting, but having arguably as talented a kid as there is in the country again, and then the other guys that we've recruited, to me, are far better than what a lot of people had projected them to be. So I mean, we got some guys that maybe have some chips on their shoulder, but TK and Leroy, those guys can hoop. There's no doubt about that. And we saw what Keanu's capable of doing. He just needs to be consistently more aggressive. And what did Dennis get in a game this year? 50-something? I mean, so that he's capable of shooting the ball. And Cole is certainly much more confident and much improved. Paul is as well. But maybe the nicest surprise we've had so far has been Luke Barnett. He hadn't been good. He's been terrific. So that's been a pleasant surprise.
On that note, I guess with Luke, but you said the shooting overall has impressed. Just who are some of the people whose shooting, besides Tyron and Luke, has exceeded expectations?
Well, I don't know that. What did Leroy shoot last year?
40.7.
So I mean, you expected that. Keanu can shoot the basketball, and so to have a guy that can stretch it at that spot, that can shoot it. Cole's not the same shooter as he was at last year, so that's been positive. And TK can make shots, but really, we knew Luke could really shoot. But Luke, it's great to be able to really shoot, but you still got to be in the game to make shots. Luke's plenty good enough to be in the game, so that adds to your shooting right there. And then Tyron is a lot more consistent than what we had even imagined going into the summer.
And then with Melvin's attempt to gain eligibility, how much has this been part of your guys' plan or something that you've been monitoring or considering over the course?
It's not part of our plan. It's one of those things. You know, every youngster in the country that exhausted his eligibility this past year, if they're not playing in the league or are thinking of or going to try to take advantage of a loophole or a rule that other people are taking advantage of, you know, I get a kick out of it. Well, he doesn't deserve this. Well, if he doesn't deserve it, then how can 50 other players potentially across America deserve it? I mean, so it's not something that we're banking on by any means. It's been in Melvin and his legal team's court, and they've pursued this, and whatever happens, it happens. But it would certainly be a bonus, but it's not something that anybody is expecting, nor has it been part of our plans whatsoever.
Are you challenging Tyron at all to be a leader, or are you sort of letting things organically?
Oh yeah, we'll challenge him to be that. You know, he is a natural leader. You know, how you react to a bad call, that's leadership. You know, how you encourage others, that's leadership. Can he make other players raise their level because of his presence? That's leadership. So there's a lot of things to it, but absolutely we're going to challenge him to be that.
Coach, people love the comparison game. Just with Leroy, does he remind you of a young Devontae at all?
You know what? There are some similarities. Leroy may have more range. Devontae looks bigger to me, even though not a lot bigger, maybe an inch. Leroy is probably the best offensive rebounding 6'1" guy you've seen, which, you know, I don't know if you recruit guys at 6'1" because they can really offensive rebound, but he's sneaky good at that. Devontae's a little stronger, but there are some similarities. But he is, in my opinion, and of course I don't know them all, but he was as impressive to me as any mid-major guard last year out there.
Hey Bill, a little off topic, but next month John Martin going to the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame. The muralist upstairs who put together that took 43 years to make that mural. He told me that when you came to KU, you were big on keeping that going after Ted and Larry and Roy. And one, just why was that important for you to preserve the history of Kansas basketball? And two, how special is it to walk by just like this whole building every day and be reminded about, you know, kind of the bigger picture of KU hoops?
Well, that's one of the best things that we have to sell our history in our entire building is what John has done for us over time, going back to Coach Owens when he first started. He's a great guy, but he's a fantastic artist, and the things that he's not only done for us but done for others over time, and all the different portraits he's painted and things like that are very impressive. And you know, you talk about Hall of Famers, and everybody thinks of players or coaches or whatever, but a big part of it is contributors, and he's definitely made our game better and certainly made University of Kansas and our tradition better by his presence.
With a player like Cole, based off what he did last season, what are the conversations like this offseason about maybe him growing his confidence or being able to continue to grow off what he did last year?
Well, you hit it. Probably look hindsight being 2020, too good too fast last year. Guys, he wasn't good. He was terrific early season, and you put him in a situation that he should be a high school senior, and it was a little too much too quick. We won't have that issue this year. He is. You talk about leadership. He's probably as good a vocal leader, and he's about all the right stuff. So I think he'll be better from a confidence standpoint, no question. But to your point, he needs to see some good things happen, and he needs to know that we have confidence in him. And I honestly believe he's one of the, you know, people last year are saying you're going to have him 1 year, and it just didn't quite work out this way. I'm hoping people by midseason are saying that you're only going to have him 2.
That's Bill Self a little bit earlier today at Allen Fieldhouse. We're going to hear part 2 of his press conference tomorrow on Rock Chalk Sports. Really shortly, we're going to have the basketball tournament, JHX Hoops against La Familia. Tune in on FS1, and we'll be breaking that down tomorrow to open our show. But after this, we're bringing back our Chiefs opponent outlook. It's been a while, been busy with TBT, but we're looking at the New York Football Jets after this. ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com. Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports. Sean Kellerman, Dan Courtwright with you. We've got Chiefs opponent outlook, so we're going to try to find a way to talk for 8 minutes about the New York Jets, which is tough.
I don't even know if New York radio stations can do that.
They've had like one talented player in their franchise history, and he's now the backup quarterback for your Kansas City Chiefs. So it's tough to pull anything. Sauce Gardner's overrated. I will give a shout out.
Not even there anymore.
I know, but I'm saying in their franchise history, I will give a shout out to Curtis Martin. He was legit.
Franchise history.
All right,
Joe Namath.
Heinen Outdoor Power Equipment. You can find them at 1795 East 1500 Road in Lawrence. Check them out if you're in the market for tractors, power sports, lawnmowers, trailers, whatever you need. Heinen Outdoor Power Equipment, the place to be. They are our partner here at Kansas Nation. Get ready for the winter time because we talk about that with football. Well, with football comes closer to fall, closer to winter. Make sure you're prepared in advance and get that garage cleaned out while you're thinking of it.
Ooh,
right? That's probably a good idea. No, I don't want to do it either. It's too hot right now. Too hot right now. But yeah, Heinen Outdoor Power Equipment. You can visit them online at HeinenOPE.com. All right, Daniel, let's talk about the pride of the Meadowlands, the New York Jets. They have been terrible for quite some time. And
whoa.
Okay.
You're forgetting about 2015 when they made it all the way to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, who was their quarterback then?
It was Mark Sanchez.
That's right.
Yeah. Was it 2015? That's right? I think it was the Broncos and the Jets in 2015 in the AFC Championship game. Please tell me I'm right about that. Was it 2015? Oh, it might have been 2011. No, that doesn't sound right either.
Chris Ivory was on that team.
Chris Ivory was nice.
Brandon Marshall.
Oh, that was like in the... Oh, yeah. Shout out.
Geno Smith.
Yeah, he was
on that team.
Yeah. And guess what? He's back.
He's back on that
where
team.
It all started, buddy.
That's crazy.
The New York Football Jets. Their backup quarterback from the AFC Championship
Ryan
game.
Fitzpatrick was their quarterback.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. So what? Mark
Did
Sanchez
they win?
took him to
And Chris Ivory was actually a decent quarterback.
Was it 15? Was it 14, 15? Hold on. Okay. That might be. Maybe I'm thinking of 2011. I don't know why 15 was in my head. Jets AFC champion. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. It was 2011. So yeah, 2011 was the last.
Yeah,
AFC
it was not
championship
the
they won.
Jets.
For some reason, I had 15 in my mind. I don't know why I had 15 in my mind. Did they make the playoffs in 15?
I will look it up. Why don't you tell us about this version of the Jets? This is a team that the Chiefs are going to need to beat. I'll put that lightly.
I want to talk about this Jets team because they're terrible and everything has gone to complete poop with the New York Jets. As Plaxico Burress said, you walk in that room, you walk in that building, you feel like a prisoner, or you feel like a loser. Excuse me. He compared it to prison. I like their skill position players, not the quarterback. I don't like Geno Smith. They did have Cade Klubnik as their second guy, and I'm still like weirdly high on him. I thought that he just didn't give maybe a fair shake because they changed up some stuff over there at Clemson when he was there, but he was still a good quarterback. Breece Hall is your running back. Good.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson, I mean, he's really been the star, right? Those two guys, Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, have been stars. They got Adonai Mitchell from the Indianapolis Colts, who I'm still really high on. He's had some weird injury stuff, and he's had some other like off-field stuff. I still think he's a really good wide receiver. And then they just drafted Omar Cooper out of Indiana. Those three wide receivers with that running back, I kind of like it. Now, their offensive line is horrible, right?
Which my wife would be the first to tell you.
Right, your wife is.
That's where the wheels fall off.
It all starts with
That's where the wheels fall off.
But like Olufashinu, whatever. Dylan Parham at the left guard, Josh Myers at the center, Joe Tippmann at the right guard, Armand Membu, who's actually a Kansas City kid, played at Mizzou.
Yeah,
he's pretty good. I mean, he's really not bad. So like. You look at this team and you go, okay, well, the quarterback is obviously Geno Smith. So he's going to have a hard time getting the ball to these guys. But they still have some nice skill position guys. And it's just like I look at this and it makes me maybe a little nervous. And you look at their tight end, Kenny Sadiq. They just drafted him out of Miami. Or not Miami, sorry, Oregon. The skill positions.
You were high on him.
I was very high on him.
If only they had a quarterback. Right? Only they could have found and developed a quarterback.
Well, is the quarterback really that important?
I think the Jets cover in this game because this is
What's the line? The line's not
the
out.
line
is
is
it?
not, the line is probably out, Tyler. But you look that up. It's week 9. Jets Chiefs. I bet the line is out.
No way.
Okay,
I
but
bet
this
maybe
is
it
the
is.
game where the Chiefs return home to Arrowhead Stadium after a game at the Broncos, which is after at the Seahawks.
Yes.
This stinks of a Jets cover. So to
Yeah.
your point,
Trap game?
they do have some talented players
Yeah.
in Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, and hopefully those guys have healthy good seasons, but not at the expense of the Chiefs. I'm going to look at this game as we've talked about, and as we continue to do this, I'm going to bring this up a ton. But to me, the Chiefs' schedule is looked at in chunks. You got against the Broncos at home, against the Colts at home, good teams at home. Then you've got bad teams on the road, week 3, week 4, Dolphins, Raiders. And then after your bye, you have Chargers at Seahawks at Broncos. Those are all hard games. And then you have 3 games that should be easy. They should be winnable games. Now, in the NFL, we all know, like, every game is going to be – it's not like, Oklahoma against Murray State or something in football. It's Jets, Falcons, Cardinals. You have to go 3-0 because then it gets really hard again. After that, Dan, you're at the Bills, at the Rams, at the Bengals for your next 3 games. Then you got Patriots, 49ers, and at the Chargers to close. The last 6 games on this Chiefs schedule are very, very difficult. So, that's the main thing I look at is potential trap game and the first of 3 games the Chiefs absolutely have to win.
Right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you got to win against the Jets at home. You got to go to Atlanta and win, and you have to beat the Cardinals at home. This is the first one, but again, it stinks of a trap line. And again, when I keep on looking at this Jets team, I mean, you even look at the defense. David Bailey, obviously, right, from Texas Tech. I think he's going to be amazing. The Harrison Phillips at the right defensive tackle. Will McDonald is a really nice edge rusher. Demario Davis is on this team. I mean, they have some nice guys down low. And they got Minkah Fitzpatrick. Yeah, he's 50 years old, but still, it's Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, they have they have good bones. You know how you look at a house, it's a fixer-upper, and you go, yeah, there's mold, and yeah, the plumbing's terrible, but it's got good bones. I think the bones are there for this Jets team.
All right. Well, if the bones are good, the rest don't matter, Maren Morris once said. I don't know that I necessarily believe that because it all starts with the offensive line. But again, we go back to the Chiefs' schedule, and it's just – I hope it's a more fun season. Last year we were in such a weird spot, week – almost 11, but maybe more like 14, where it was like the day we got waxed by the Texans, it was like, okay, this is over.
Yeah.
And now we're just got to run out the clock of the season. This should be a fun season. They need to start fast. You need to sweep that 3-game series that I talk about and need to be the Chiefs, which is the best team in the NFL. Hey, big shout out to Elijah Schmidt and Tyler Brewer behind the cameras today. For Dan Courtwright, I'm Sean Kellerman saying make sure you're tuned in tomorrow. We're talking JHX Hoops and the TBT. Hopefully they'll be playing for $2 million Sunday at noon, and we're also going to hear more from Bill Self as well. So a lot going on tomorrow on Rock Chalk Sports. Appreciate you watching on KansasNation.com, listening on ESPN Kansas City, watching live on Facebook, live on YouTube. We'll catch you tomorrow from 4 to 6.